Hey, it's Kim, and today we're in my kitchen. For dinner, we're having Trinidad Roti, or as they call it, bus up shut, with some Jamaican curry lentils, and I appreciate you coming to cook with me. For the roti or paratha, start with all-purpose flour and salt, baking powder, brown sugar, and give it a good stir before adding in some water. So this is actually my first time making Trinidad paratha, so I left the video link to the channel where I found this recipe in the description box below. I also left a link to her blog if you prefer a written recipe. This kind of reminds me of an Indian chapati, which is also a type of roti. Alright, so once it's kneaded and formed into a ball, I added a tablespoon of oil and covered it for about 30 minutes. Once it's done, I separated it into 4 pieces, and I took one roti dough at a time and flattened it out with my rolling pin. The butter I use is solid hard, so I melted it down and buttered the entire surface of the roti dough before rolling it up. So after cutting it down the middle, we roll it up into pretty much a giant triangle. I actually have a better visual of tucking in the ends coming up. Alright, so we have 1 dough down and 3 to go. So I just repeat the same process over again and again and again. I thought this was a pretty good method of locking in the butter to give it that nice, flaky, and light texture. And then I let them rest for another 30 minutes. And now I'm finally rolling out the roti dough for frying. When it's time to fry these, I oil the skillet and then I oil the exposed portion of the roti. And then I flip it. I flipped it about 2 or 3 times and oiling the surface every time I do flip it. And that keeps it moist and adds to the flakiness. Again, all the details for the bus up short roti recipe is linked in my description box, so be sure to check that out. The video that I did watch, she did this method where she got it to rip while it was actually on the stove. Could not figure that out, so I actually ended up ripping it by hand. Curry is a weekly dish in our house, and raw lentils are super quick when it comes to cooking, so that's my go-to for today. I chop up my veggies, onion, green pepper, garlic, and then peeled and chopped up 2 small potatoes. I left some of the skin on just because I know it's like the healthiest part, but my family is anti-skin on their potatoes. As far as cost, I would say this meal was super affordable, especially because I used raw lentils. I sauteed my seasoning in coconut oil. I have an Indian friend that introduced me to mustard seeds, so now I add it to all of my curry dishes. So I added in all my curry seasoning, the main one being turmeric. I love that I could alternate with the proportions. My curry doesn't come out the same every time, but it does taste delicious and it does remind me of curry. So it's a win in my book. I use my own blend of curry. I've made it enough times to just eyeball the proportions, but I do have the exact measurements for the curry powder in my description box. I add the water from the lentils just because I feel like it gives it like a of flavor rather than just using plain water for the entire meal. The coconut milk gives it a really nice rich texture. I wouldn't say coconut curry, but it does add a nice flavor to the curry. And then I just let it simmer down for about 20 to 30 minutes before it is fully cooked. Five minutes before it's done cooking, I add in some nutritional yeast. That's where we get our B12. I also added in some cinnamon. I know it sounds strange, but it really does gives it like a boost of flavor. Adding ketchup is actually something that I saw my mom doing as I was growing up. And I tried it out and it actually is really delicious. It gives it a really nice flavor. Dinner is served. This was so good. Again, it reminds me of Indian chapati, which again is a style of roti, but this was definitely delicious. Thank you guys for stopping by. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.